lie down on your backs. Lie down on your back. And just take a few moments to sense yourself lying down on the floor. And you can sense yourself breathing. You can pay attention to the movement of your breath. Breath is an excellent gateway into your own awareness of yourself. So just follow the breath as it comes in through your nose or your mouth, and follow it down the windpipe, back of the throat, into your lungs. And notice what sort of movement you might make in your belly, your lower abdomen, or your ribs. And also pay attention to the air as it leaves you. As you deflate. And then can you bring your attention to your right heel, how your right heel rests on the floor, and compare that sensation to how your left heel rests on the floor. So are they symmetrical, or is one a little bit different, or maybe one is a lot different? And if you follow the sensation of your legs lying against the floor, the right calf, the gap behind the knee, the back of the thigh, and then compare that to the left calf, the back of the knee, the thigh, you can get a sense of how the legs are arranged. How you rest on the heel can inform you something about your hip joints. One leg might feel longer than another, or heavier, or lighter. And then the right side of your pelvis, you can compare how you rest the right side of your pelvis on the floor to the left. Are they symmetrical, or is there a difference there? Continuing up through the trunk, the sweep of the lower back away from the floor. Where does it touch down again? How are the shoulders weighted against the ground? The right side and the left. The right arm growing down from the shoulder, the left arm. How your hands are resting on the floor. The gap behind your neck. Gap between the back of the neck and the floor if you're not using a head support. Or even if you are, you might notice a gap. And how the head rests. How does your head rest? Where do you take the most weight on the head? And then can you get a whole picture of your entire self, your whole skeleton lying on the floor? The form. What's your form? And then can you stand your feet? Stand your feet so that the knees are bent facing at the ceiling. Soles of the feet resting on the floor, and search around for a place to place the feet so that the knees feel balanced and you're not squeezing the thighs together. The knees are not resting against each other, but there's a balancing of the bones in the hip joints and of the knees over the heels. Find that spot. And then just gently push your feet into the floor and feel what happens. Push your feet into the floor and feel what happens. So, what does that mean to push your feet into the floor? And do that several times. Push your feet down. Let's push your feet down into the floor in such a way that the pelvis starts curling under and then begins to lift. The pelvis curls under, the tailbone points up towards the ceiling and sort of scoops. The pelvis can scoop under and you can lift it away from the floor if you keep pushing the legs into the floor, pushing. And keep pushing until more and more of the spine comes away from the floor. So we start with the heaviest bone, the pelvis, and keep pushing and pushing, pushing until you come up one vertebrae at a time, up through the lower back, the mid-back, maybe up to the bra strap level. It depends on your back how high you come. And then think of placing each bone down one at a time, like a piano key. And do that a few times in your own timing. You can come up as high as you like. Want to keep the movement in a comfortable range. And on your way up as well as on your way down, can you think of lifting the vertebrae one at a time and placing each vertebra down one at a time? And spend a little time on the places that aren't so clear. You can maybe linger there. Maybe imagine what are you doing in the front of the spine as you pay attention to the feedback you're getting from the floor about the back of your spine, the part that you can actually feel on the floor. And you may probably feel some vertebrae coming up in clumps, 2 or 3 at a time. See how you breathe, how you might gain better access to those places, like freeing them up to move a little more independently. And you might notice that the more you do the movement, the more fluid your spine becomes, the easier it becomes to gain access to some of those vertebrae. Yeah, good. I see some chests letting go. I see some heads being invited to change. So pay attention to the chin. The chin. Is there a point when you're rolling up or rolling down where your chin might be invited to go either towards the chest or away from the chest? And what part of the spine that gives you better access to? By allowing the chin to come either down towards the chest or go away from the chest. You can play with that. Okay, let's give that a rest. Send your legs down and take a rest. And as you rest, does anything feel different against the floor? stand your feet again, and let's do the same exploration a few more times. But this time, as you push the feet into the floor and start to disengage your pelvis from the floor, pay attention to the pressure through the feet. And notice as you peel your hips away from the floor, like a postage stamp from a corner, notice if one foot presses earlier or if one foot is pressing more. And play with that. What if you pushed your feet symmetrically into the floor? How would it affect the raising and lowering of the pelvis? What if you push the foot that's not pushing so much into the floor, you pushed it more, have it be the dominant side? So that the brain starts to become interested. The brain gets interested when something is different. If we challenge it just a little bit, not too much, then it remains interested. Otherwise, it just sort of checks out. So you go slowly and do what you can without forcing. Okay, and then the next time your pelvis is on the floor, go ahead and take another rest. And I'm curious, did anybody here have a foot that was pressing more into the floor than another once called the attention? Yeah? Okay. Stand your feet again. And raise your right leg in the air. And catch hold of the outside of the arch with your right hand. So you'll go up the outside of the leg, and catch hold of the outside of the arch, like a ledge. Catch hold of that ledge with your hand. And then stand the leg down and do that again. So find the most economical way, the simplest way to bring the leg. So the elbow will be on the outside of the leg, and you can bring the knee close to the chest. And you can bend the leg as much as you need to make it very easy to hold onto that part of your foot. Okay? And I'm going to add one more thing. Instead of having the thumb across the bridge of the foot, have your thumb together with the rest of your fingers. More of an ape-like grip. Okay, good. And just move the leg around. Just play around with moving the leg around. You can move it right and left. You can move it towards you and away from you. You can roll. You can do anything you like. You can bend the knee more. You can bring the heel closer to your butt. All kinds of things. Yes, yeah. Try bending the bending the knee so the calf comes closer to your hamstring. Just keep hold of the foot. Keep hold of the foot. Just play around. Okay. Pause, stand the foot down, and just sense that leg on the floor, that foot on the floor. And do the same with the other side. Bring the left leg in the air and catch hold of the arch together, the thumb together with the rest of your fingers. And sort of play around. There's no rules, there's no right, there's no wrong. How easily could you bend the leg closer to you, and does that make it easier for you to catch the foot? Have the right foot standing, that gives you more stability. So if you bend the heel towards your butt, bend the left heel, bring it towards your butt, does that make it easier? Oh, so much easier, yes. So we're so used to challenging ourselves that we almost don't know how to not. So find a really easy place to hold the foot. Maybe you could even stand that foot on the floor as you keep your hand around it. As you keep holding onto the sole of the foot, could you stand the foot down there, over there to the side maybe? And then bring it back, and do that a few times. Find the easiest place to stand the foot. The easiest place to stand the foot. What do you need to let go of in order to allow the skeleton to fold there? And then bring it up in the air again. What's the easiest pathway? Yeah, good. Good. Okay. Bring yourself to the middle, wherever you are in your process. Stand your feet down, lengthen your legs down, and take a rest. Stand your feet again. Bend your right knee over your chest and catch hold of the arch on the outside. Boom. Good. And from this position, can you take the knee in a circle? Circle the knee. And just circle the knee. Round and round as you hold on to the outside of the arch. Take the knee in a circle. Feel what's happening in the hip joint. And circle a few times the other direction. Let's find a really easy, pleasant way to make a circle. And notice if your foot is coming outside and is going outside and inside of the knee. So as the knee comes to the inside, the foot might go to the outside. Or if you are keeping the lower leg and upper leg more as one unit, so that the heel and the knee, both parts of the leg are circling as a unit. So which one were you doing, and could you do the other? So some will have a preference of having the knee moving inside and outside as the foot goes outside and inside. And some will bring them together. See if you can do both, an approximation of each. And let's take a rest. And if you're new, you're always free to take a rest before I suggest it. Always free to do that, because you are in control, remember? You're in control. It's your comfort level that's the most important, not pleasing me. Notice how your legs are fitting on the floor, the sensation of your body. And stand your feet again and take hold of your left foot, the outside of the foot, with the thumb stuck together with the fingers, and experiment with circling the knee. It doesn't have to be a large circle. What do you feel happening in the hip joint? And what do you feel happening everywhere else? So if you can, keep hold of the foot and make the circles smaller. If you find that you're having to let go, some of you are grasping with your thumb. Stick your thumb with the rest of the fingers. It changes what's happening in the shoulder joint. That's why we do that. And keep holding the foot like it's glued there, so that the movement of the knee acts as a lever and affects maybe the appendage that's attached to the foot. So we're making a closed loop out of our body system on this side. There's a certain kind of a pull that might happen through the shoulder as you bring the knee in a certain direction. Up to you how big. Up to you how big. Bigger is not better in these lessons. Bigger is not better in these lessons. Things will get bigger, larger, more expansive, more flexible if you work within a certain boundary. Okay, after you've played around with circling, then go ahead and take another rest. And sense how things are fitting against the floor. And now can you turn and come onto your right side? Roll onto your right side. Have your knees drawn up close to your belly. The left knee stacked on top of the right. And you can use, if you don't have a head support, you can certainly use your right arm underneath as a cushion. And check in, are you on your side, or is the chest or the pelvis a little bit rolled forward or back? Are you really on your side seam? Now, does anybody here have a sensitive outer hip bone? Since this is a very hard floor, you might want to... You got enough? Okay. If you need a little extra padding, if you've got socks or something, Kleenex, something, we have materials so you can make it a softer experience. Okay. So on this side, can you take hold of the outside of your left foot as you just did a moment ago, except now you're on your side? And can you take the knee in front of you, and take it in small circles? Take it in small circles. Hold on to the foot with the hand. Let's see. So this isn't working because your foot is pointed. Oh, okay. If you flex your foot, then you have an edge to hang on to. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you want to have the bottom of the foot flat, like it's standing on the floor. Then you'll have something to hold on to. So again, listen to what's happening in the left hip joint, and listen to what's happening other places. Is the leg moving independently, or are you rolling a little forward and back? Let's take a rest on the side, so just let go of the foot and place the arm wherever you like. And catch hold of the foot again. Flexed, thumb, stick the thumb with the rest of the fingers, and can you now circle the leg in a very light way and think that you only need 20% effort in your hand and your arm. 20%. It's a very light. And can you move the leg independently of the rest of you, so that your body's quite quiet? Think of it's very skeletal. It's a very skeletal movement rather than a muscular movement. If you can make that differentiation in the hip joint, a light touch, breathing, easy. Now, if the knee is too close to the belly, you'll be restricted. So see if you can point the knee in front of you. Which would mean, okay, so let's do a little bit of work there. Let's rest on the back. Let's rest on the back. Lengthen down your legs, compare what might be different. How's your breathing? Is there more movement in your breath? Is it spreading through you a little better now? Looks like it. Come back onto the same side. Come back onto the same side. Bend your leg up. Take hold of the outside of the arch. And this time, bring the knee closer to you and then further away. So you're folding the hip joint more, bringing the knee closer to the chest. And then bring the knee down towards the other heel, in the direction of the mirror, in the direction of the mirrors. And notice what you're doing in your core. Fold and open the hip joint. And what you're doing with your spine as you bring the knee closer to you and then bring it further away. What's happening? Oh, there's so much happening in the hip joint, the pelvis, the sacrum, the belly, the back, the chest. And keep searching for ways to make the movement easier, simpler. Shouldn't be that easy. Find that place where you think it shouldn't be that easy. This should be work. But it's actually very easy to fold up a skeleton. Okay, let's take a rest. When you're ready, take hold of your foot again and make circles with your knee out in front of you and see if it's easier now. Is that, yeah, there you found it. Good. See, you feel? Yeah, big. So we just offered a different option. We didn't try to correct the movement. We just added another dimension to it and it corrected itself. Yeah. Great. And when you've gone a few one way, the other way, then go ahead and rest on your back. And while you're resting, I'll tell you a story. So, everyone heard of Johnny Appleseed, right? But did you know that during Prohibition, the one alcoholic beverage that people could still make was apple cider? Did you know this? That vineyards and hops were outlawed in this country. And the famous picture that you may have seen of Carrie Nation, the great prohibitionist, of holding a Bible in one hand and an axe in the other. Yeah? The axe wasn't to go break down, smash the windows of the bars. It was to cut down the apple trees. She wanted all the apple trees in this country cut down. And so the apple growers came up with a slogan, a brilliant marketing slogan. Can you guess what it might have been? An apple a day keeps the doctor away is what saved the apple orchards from getting whacked. Isn't that interesting? Since I just found that out. We're in apple cider season now. So, okay, come on to your other side. Set yourself up, bring your arm underneath your head for a cushion, and grab hold of your foot. Now, have we done this side? No, we haven't done this side at all. So, but you know what to do. You already know what to do. So, position your foot and start to make circles with the knee in front of you. Flex the foot so that, and take the thumb, yeah, there you go. Take the thumb. So you don't have to go quite so far around the bottom of the foot. Carol, you can actually, you can come closer the other way. Yeah, you can actually hold there. Yeah. And you can rest whenever you need to, but make a few circles, paying attention to the hip joint, how you can make it easier, looser, freer. There's a way to do it where you're using your whole self, and then there's a way to organize the movement so that you're moving the leg pretty independently. You can play with everything in between. Notice if you're rolling, or if you're staying truly on the side. Can you stay truly on the side? Are you breathing? Rest before you need to. That's the real art, is knowing when to rest. So let's take a rest. Take hold of your foot again. Flex the foot. Yeah. And bring the knee closer to you and further away. The knee closer to you and further away. Think that you could bring the heel behind you. Think of bringing the heel down behind you. So you feel the front of the hip open. And the belly can go forward. Yes, it can. The belly can go forward. And the back can extend. The back can round as you bring the knee towards the chest. And then the back can extend as you keep your balance on your left side. So that's why we have the knee bent on the floor in front, because if the knee comes away, you become a little precarious. Rest, rest, rest. And then take your foot again and play with the circles again in front of you. See if it got... If you had a paintbrush strapped to the front of the top of your thigh and it were extending beyond your thigh, and you could paint a circle on a canvas in front of you. Yeah. You should be able to do that. There's somebody did that. Took they didn't attach it to their thigh. Go ahead and rest on your backs. Rest on your backs. IT bands are starting to give out. Somebody attached a paintbrush to the end of a long pole and he made long sweeping red circles which bled and dripped all over the place. And the painting sold for $14.5 million, which I think is hilarious. Modern art. So you too. This could be performance art. Feel how you're lying on the floor. What's changed? How's your breathing? How's that changed? And come onto your right side again. And we're going to change one element. So if you are very close to the wall with your head, you're going to want to move away about 3 feet. If you have your head right up against the wall, you're going to move way down to the end of your blanket. Because we're going to change one element. We're going to do the same movement, holding onto the foot, but we're going to extend the right arm long on the floor so that you have a narrow ledge there. You have a narrow ledge and turn the palm down. Rotate the forearm so that the palm is down. And feel if you're on your side. Are you on your side or are you sort of folded forward or dumped back? You can really get on your side there and take hold of your left foot as we've been doing and point the knee in front of you with your paintbrush and paint circles. But now we have the added challenge of we've narrowed the base. We've narrowed the base. So you're going to have to hook in a little more to the core to stabilize yourself. What's happening in the hip joint and what's happening in other places. Listen to the opposite hip joint. Listen to the relationship of your pelvis to the opposite hip joint as you navigate through that circle. And reverse your circle if you haven't already. Are you breathing? Are you on your balance? Are you in control? Is the knee in front of you? Is it drifting towards the ceiling? Is the foot drifting towards the ceiling? You can keep the inside of the leg parallel to the floor. Inside of the leg parallel to the floor. Yeah, okay, now take a rest. And rest on your back. Shapes are changing. Come onto the same side. Same, more precarious setup. And we're going to add one thing. Lengthen down your right leg so that the leg and the arm, the right arm and the right leg, are in a straight line. And really straighten the leg and flex the foot so you have a long heel. And take hold of your left foot in front of you. Straighten the right leg down below you like you're standing on the floor, in line with your right arm, and make circles with your knee in front of you, holding onto the outside edge of your foot. If you can't hold the outside edge of the foot, grab your pants, grab your socks, just grab something. And now listen to what's going on. Flex the foot of the right foot like it's standing on the wall opposite the sole of the foot. And feel the extension through that hip joint as we circle the knee around. There's a lot of information happening in both hip joints. It's quite different. Listen to the supporting side and what you're using to stabilize yourself as you mobilize your left leg. Rest as you need to and take it up again after you've rested a bit. In your own timing. Are you breathing? Can you keep the movement so that you don't tense up or restrict your breathing? Or tense your jaw, or your neck, or your eyes. You won't need to go to your Pilates class later today. And rest on your back. On to your other side. Start the somewhat safer way. Have your left leg bent up in front of you and extend your left arm long, a straight line up along your side seam, and catch hold of your right foot on the outside there. Bend the knee up in front of you. The left knee is bent. The left knee is bent. The left knee, we're not challenging that just yet. And then make some circles and find out, are you really on your side? Are you rolling forward and back? Or can you somehow stabilize yourself on your side, but allow the knee to move and the hip joint to circle? Breathing. Soften the jaw, soften the eyes, relax the tongue. Is your circle round or is it an egg? You make it round. Can you reverse? Resting as you need to, or resting before you need to is even better. So we gain nothing by struggling. You just get good at struggling. Where is the foot in relationship to the knee? Is it in the same plane? Is the thigh level? Or is the knee closer to the floor or further away from the floor? Can you be in the same plane with the floor, with the entire inside of the leg, the inside of the right ankle, the inside of the right knee, and still have the knee in front of you? In front, not up close to you, but pointing in front of you, pointing away from you. At about right angles. At about right angles. Yeah. So you're sitting in a chair. Rest. Rest. If you need to rest on your back for any reason, rest on your back. Okay, now extend your underneath leg long so that it's in line with your left arm, as though it's standing on the floor. Flex the foot, bend the front leg, the top leg. Bring the inside level with the floor and make circles. Think of extending long through that left side. The left arm, the left leg, the left heel. Feel what's happening. Oh yeah, feel what's happening in the hip joints, the sacrum, the plane of the front and the plane of the back. Like you're sandwiched in between two boards with your body. And when you've circled both directions and you haven't stressed yourself and you've checked that everything is cooperating, go ahead and rest on your back. And check in. What has reorganized? What has changed? Take note of all the places that feel different and get a picture or a felt sense. If you don't picture well, then what's the internal sense? I can see by looking at every one of you that you've changed quite a bit. Follow the breathing in and out. What's the sense of spaciousness inside? Density, color, feeling. roll to your side and bring yourself up to standing. You can do it in one fluid movement. Roll to your side. Don't do the sit-up. Roll to the side and find a nice, elegant way up to your feet. And then stand and just take stock of what's the presence of your bones, your structure. How supported do you feel by your skeleton? Different, huh? Can you describe it in words? You don't have to. Everybody looks so different. Memorize it. And as you go through the day, check in and recall this place. Recall this place. The more you do that, the more you confirm it and bring the feeling back. Helps to imprint it in the brain. So you can move about or continue enjoying standing. What's different about walking, you know? Good. This is the night of the apocalypse part of the lesson. The zombie apocalypse part. All right. Well, thank you. There are sitting lessons. I haven't done many of them. I obviously only have one stool. But there are sitting lessons. There are standing lessons, which I haven't done very many of.
But I mean, are you on the floor and sitting, doing things?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I take requests. The purpose of lying on the floor is to cancel out the effect of gravity's pull on the bones, which we're habituated to. Or the soles of the feet are informing the soles of the feet feel, I'm on the floor, the back muscles contract in their habitual way, and it's very hard to change a pattern in the upright position because our muscles are so habituated to the upright posture. So part of the genius of this method is if you cancel out gravity in terms of the vertical, and you move in ways that are functional, then the brain has a chance to recalibrate the muscular organization so that when you come to standing, that's why you feel different. Right?
That makes sense.
And it keeps getting better and better. Oh, yeah, huh? Okay, I hope you come back.